Max, it doesn't get any better, does it?
It certainly doesn't. We've got another example of de Havilland's great design team. They were the principal aircraft manufacturer of the 1930s and 40s for passenger and Air Force training. We can see the Dragonfly in the front there, that very unique shape, little passenger plane, twin engine and a single engine running along behind, giving us a view of the sight and sound.
Now just look at the difference in the interpretation of how you move executives and high-flown oil barons around. The American aeroplane, the monoplane, the all-metal Spartan executive, sleek, retractable undercarriage. The Dragonfly, which I think is beautiful, all wooden, moulded ply fuselage and biplane, and yet, believe it or not, the Spartan executive flew 2 years before the Dragonfly.
Well, that was typical of the British design perspective on aircraft. We were still building aircraft on tail wheels long after the Americans had developed nose wheel aircraft. We were a little slow to improve our design, rather old-fashioned, if you like.
Old-fashioned Britain may have been. In their day, Spartan executives were so expensive, only 34 were built. Dragonflies were not much better, but they managed 67 to survive. You're looking at one of them. Now, there are 2 Spartan executives based in this country. That one and another. Both owned by Nigel Pickard, and they're based at Little Gransden in Cambridgeshire. And I believe there are only now 6 or 7 left altogether. And we've got 2 of them. Well, Nigel's got 2 of them. He's trying to corner the market.
Originally had wicker seats with little cushions. Croydon Airport, the original London airport. We saw this aircraft operate from there in the 1930s. And you can see the classic de Havilland wing shape, which we see on a lot of the subsequent
Lucas,
designs.
this is for you. High five. Again, we go back to different speeds, different configurations. How do you keep the formation tight? Ian and Dan working very hard for us here.
A matter of interest, Ken, that'll do 200 miles an hour, the Spartan, the single-engine aircraft, very fast for its time, and about a 22,000-foot service ceiling, and that's high for an aircraft of that spec.
Absolutely, here they come through again. Now, we're talking the 30s, a time where we're climbing out of the Depression. A Dragonfly, brand new, fully equipped, £2,650. Now, you might think, well, you know, that's achievable, but that's 1935. That's the equivalent now of £145,000. But in 1935, did you know that the average wage was £196? So we're talking an outlandish amount of money.
Powered by the Gypsy Major engine, which we've seen in other de Havilland aircraft, typically the Chipmunk we saw earlier. This Gypsy Major engine, the inverted engine, very, very common, still used today, still available, is powering the Dragonfly we're enjoying today. Interestingly, there was a seaplane version of the Dragonfly with floats, rather like the 172 we're going to be seeing later in the show with Amos.
They kept trying, de Havilland kept trying to develop the Dragonfly at Hatfield in Hertfordshire, and they did do a final one with retractable undercarriage instead of that beautiful third spatted arrangement. And they call that the de Havilland Dolphin, but it went no further than the prototype.
You see, that's what I like about working with you, Ken. You've got some incredible facts, and you are a mine of utterly useful information.
Did you say useful?
But aeroplane buffs amongst us will appreciate the advance in technology the Americans had at the time. And here's an ample demonstration of American technology versus the de Havilland British technology.
Yeah, I'm going to lapse into an Americanism now. The Spartan Executive, its construction technique is steel tube surrounded by aluminum.
That's nearly as good as grinning.
Thought we got away with that.
Easy to confuse the de Havilland Dragonfly with the Dragon Rapide, as Ken pointed out, but slightly different design and build with the Dragonfly.
Saved by the hat.
Ian Austin, the pilot of the Spartan Executive, says that this aeroplane is the all silver one. It was number 21 off the production line. The other one that Nigel has was number 14, and that's in a sort of get ready with your cameras, brake, brake, brake. It's in a sort of green colour scheme. They like the silver, but they have to say that it's slightly more economical. It's a slightly faster, less draggy version, but they have to say that it's much more expensive on Brasso. A lot of elbow grease is needed. Other polishing agents are available.
Got another fact for you, Ken. I don't know if you know this, but 3 Dragonflies were bought by the Romanian Air Force for crew training. How about that?
Beautiful, beautiful lines.
De Havilland, of course, absorbed into the various companies that all merged in the 1950s to become one, the British Aircraft Corporation.
Look at that, beautiful lines, spatted undercarriage, so beautiful third wheels. Well, you don't need to retract that. Cruise of about 125 miles per hour, and it will give you a decent range in its day of 625 miles. 5-seater, luxury inside, leather everywhere. Even the cup holders are leather.
Good Lord. And for some real aviation spotters out there, the registration Golf Alpha Echo Whiskey Zulu, the A after the G denotes an aircraft registered many, many years ago. The letter A left the register in about the late 60s.
Look at that wind show. This is the only Dragonfly in the Northern Hemisphere. The other one that survives is in New Zealand. It was here for a while.
You were comparing prices, Ken, earlier of manufacture. I wonder how much a ticket on this aeroplane was, say, from Croydon to Paris.
I think with the style of owner of these things, the answer would be, if one has to ask, one really can't afford.
When you consider you can fly EasyJet to Gatwick for £22.50, I wonder whether the cost has gone up at all.
Well, I do think that Dragonfly has a little bit more style about it. Great respect to EasyJet.
Other airlines are available.
Absolutely. Coming around, Dan Griffith in the DH-90 Dragonfly, I think for his last run, as over the the heads of the executive, Spartan executive patrols. Nice fast run.
You can see the tiger moth there. It's like a family resemblance. The shape of the tail, the shape of the wing. If you compare that to the line of the tiger moth, you can see de Havilland's almost Darwinian progression with their design.
It's just, there's a hallmark, isn't it? And the fin and rudder might as well be a trademark.
Oh, he's coming back around for one more shot. Then he's going ta-ta.
And he's waving at you, Dan Griffith. Come on, we want an air wave back.
Well, they say nostalgia is not what it used to be, but I think what a lovely look back into the past from 1930s aviation.
Star one again. Star. Everyone's already up there. Oh, it's the Sea Fury Fighter, the World War II one, that is. Is that